Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. Today I'm doing one of my new favorite things and I'm making corn syrup. So I love the idea of having items that I can make on regular homestead that where I can't do the actual item. So what I mean by that is I don't have maple trees on my property that I'm gonna go tap maple trees. My parents have maple trees, but I don't live there, so I don't really want to go tap their trees. I don't have bees, so I don't grow my own, or I don't have my own honey. And I found dandelion jam this year that kind of acts as a little bit of a replacement for my honey. But this is my replacement for maple syrup, and it's corn syrup. I love this corn syrup so much. I did one batch last year at the end of the season, and I'm obsessed with it. For me, it is a complete 100% substitute for maple syrup. I use it as a sugar substitute. I put it in dressings. I put it on my pancakes. I use this syrup anytime you need syrup or some sort of sweetener. And this could not be easier to make. So I have I'm actually using my pressure canner because it's the biggest pot that I have. But I have my pressure canner and I have it filled up with water. You can just see it. By the time I add the rest of the corn, you should be able to see the water on the top. And I'm just taking some corn cobs where we have cut the corn off and it's gone in the freezer. And I'm just throwing all of them into this pot. Last year I did a pot a little bit smaller than this, probably about 3/4 of this size. I did with about 12 corn cobs. And it tasted really good. So I think it really just depends how many corn cobs you have. But the more you have, the more corny it's gonna taste. So I think I have about 3 dozen ears of corn in here, a big old pot. You can see my pot is quite large. So I'm just gonna let this sit for about an hour or two, really kind of get that corn flavor out. And then I'm gonna take the corn out, add some brown sugar, and it's really gonna kind of sit and thicken and simmer away for many, many hours. I am starting this project, and I'm going on record saying I know this isn't smart, but I'm starting this project at 7 p.m. And I know that when I go to bed at 9, because I go to bed at 9, this is not going to be near ready. So I'm kind of planning on starting this now, letting it sit in the fridge overnight, and when I get home from work tomorrow, starting it again. I'm getting ready to go out of town this weekend, so I really just want to make sure I got this corn used up before it went bad. It's the next day and my camera's getting steamed up, but I am currently draining the corn syrup. I had this going for 2 hours, about 2.5 hours last evening. I had it up to a nice rolling boil. And then I put it in the fridge, which my fridge did not like. I went out this morning and this was still warm. And everything else in my fridge was not as cold as it should have been. But it did cool down by the time I got home from work. I did put it on the stove and I boiled it for about another 45 minutes. And it smells so good. I think it's ready for the next step. It just smells like a big batch of corn. It smells so good. So now I just took all the corn cobs out and I'm straining it. And honestly, most of the things like the kernels, extra silk, that's all going to be at the bottom. I don't really have too much here at the top of my syrup or my liquid so far. So I don't have enough big pots. I'm splitting it up between many different things. But I just want to go get this strained, and then we're going to add the sugar to it to make the syrup. It is currently 4:30 and I am determined to have this done today. It doesn't need to be canned today, but it will be through cooking today. So I filled up 2 big pots and a 12-quart cup over there. And all I have left is this little bit here. And you can see all the solids there at the bottom. I'm just gonna go pour these out into the garden. I'm sure it has some sort of nutritional value. And I feel like my garden might like it. So I'm gonna pour this out and then we're just gonna pour everything back into the big pot and add our sugar. So when I first started it, the water was up to the top as high as it could go. And so it's boiled down about that much. We're gonna go ahead and add our brown sugar now, and it's just gonna keep boiling and simmering away. I'm bringing the corn syrup back up to a boil, and once it's at a boil, I'm gonna add my sugar. So the recipe calls for about, and it's very fluid. We didn't measure the water in here. We didn't measure the corn cobs. So you're just kind of gonna go until you get to the consistency that you want. If you are somebody that loves recipes, I'm sorry, I am not the girl for you. I just dump everything. I don't really measure anything. I measure stuff. So the recipe calls for 5 to 7 cups of sugar, but it doesn't tell you the exact amount of water you need to have, which is why I'm just like, you gotta play it by ear. So I have a big old pot. I'm kind of just gonna eyeball it. So I have these bags, which are 32 ounces. So there are 4 cups. A cup is 8 ounces. 8 times 4, there's 4 cups in each bag. I'm gonna add 1.5 bags of brown sugar. And then we're just gonna let it simmer down, and it'll reduce by half and start forming that syrup that we want. And then we'll come in, once it reduces by half, it'll start forming little bubbles. And then we'll come in and check the temperature of it, see if it's where we want it, see if the taste is where we want it. But I'm excited. So we're gonna let this guy come back to a boil and I'm gonna add about 5 cups of brown sugar. So my syrup has boiled down greatly. You can see, so it started out up here, and you can see where we added the brown sugar, how it's strained all the way down, or boiled all the way down. Ouch, it's hot. I will say it's not as syrupy as I would like. It's not very syrupy at all, but the flavor is delicious. It's a beautiful dark brown color. I hope you could see that. Ouch, everything is hot. I'm touching everything. So I let this one boil down longer than I have in the past. This is the 3rd day. 3 different outfits, 3 different hairstyles. But I let it boil down for 3 days, and it has a much more richer flavor. It's really transversed from being corn syrup to almost just like this decadent deliciousness. So I'm gonna let it go now. I'm getting ready to go to town for a couple days, so I need to get that jarred up and canned tonight. I'm gonna water bath can that for 10 minutes, and I'm just gonna do it in pint jars. So I'm gonna get that going in a bit. But I'm already thinking about like what to put that on. So it's not syrupy thick. It didn't get that thick, and I don't have the time to continue to kind of play with it, try to get it to the thickness that I would like. Ideally I would have done this over the weekend, and I could have let it go for 2 straight days. I was just doing it when I got off of work until I went to bed. So far it's honestly probably boiled 8 or 9 hours total. So maybe 10, but not a lot of time. And it was a big batch. The second thing I'm gonna say is, for me to do that next year, I need to get the outdoor cannon set up. I want to get, I don't even know what it's called. It's some camp stove that you can can on. We can can on, but you could set that thing on that and just let that boil away outside. Because my house right now is really hot. I am hot. I am sweaty. I'm not having a good time. So I needed to get that thing stopped because I'm too hot. I gotta get things canned, and I don't really care right now. So, but I'm really excited. I think that's gonna be delicious on fruit in the fall. I'm thinking put it on fruits, delicious. Put it in some hot chocolates. Put it on some bread puddings, ice cream. I think this is gonna be really, really good on so many different things. So if you haven't tried this yet, I really recommend giving it a try. Even if you're a maple syrup purist and you need to have maple syrup, you can still use this for, I think, other things other than maple syrup. If you keep the maple syrup for the pancakes and maybe use this for bread pudding, I don't know, but I think it's really good, and I really recommend you guys giving it a try. It could not be easier. It's just a little hot. If you guys enjoy my videos, please give me a like and feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.